What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the first ever episode of the Tipsy Tim podcast. I'm your creator and host, Elle, and I will be doing these intros before every show. So if you're new here, I just want to kind of give a little bit of a summary about what's been going on. So I started a show back in January called Dink It and Sink It, and we had ourselves a little bit of a trial run. So we ran for about 4.5 months. Just messed around with how we'd like to do things and some things that we'd like to change and whatnot. So we wrapped that season up in May, and we've had the past few months to kind of expand on a lot of different ideas and such. And so here we are with our finished product, the Tipsy Tim podcast. I'm really happy with the changes that we've made. We have a lot of awesome content and guests, and surprise, we're now going to be weekly. So not every other Thursday, but you will hear us every single Thursday. So be sure to check us out every Thursday. The episode format is going to change from week to week, but you'll get the hang of it. Mostly just a little bit back and forth. So for this episode, we're going to go kind of with the original layout of Dink It and Sink It for the Tipsy Tim podcast. So basically, we'll have a guest, and we have a keyword, and we'll have a topic, and we have the 10 talking points. Every time we say the keyword, now you'll hear a sound effect, so it'll make it a lot easier to follow along. Dang, I'm not even drunk, but okay. And then, every time you'll hear the sound effect, we will drink. So pretty much the same thing as the old Dink It and Sink It. Added some awesome things. We added these intros, and then you'll hear from me at the end of the show. We added the sound effect. So for this episode, we do have the lovely Emily with us, and we talk about the coronavirus. So you've heard about Emily. Emily saves the environment. A bunch of stuff from Emily. She'll probably be one of the main guests on here. We talk about the coronavirus. That really was not planned, but that is so funny. I'm not even going to edit it out. So we just talk about a bunch of different aspects and opinions, and just, throw our 2 cents in. Definitely more casual than you've seen on the news and all this stuff. So without further ado, here's the first episode of the Tipsy Tim podcast. I'm so excited for you guys to join us. Hi everyone, Elle here, creator, host of the Tipsy Tim podcast. And we really do like to have a lot of fun around here, but it is just my moral obligation to throw this little disclaimer in before every episode. I myself am over the age of 21. Every guest I have on the show is over the age of 21. We do not condone underage drinking. And every episode is recorded either in my home or via Zoom, to where my guest is in their home. So we're all drinking in our own homes. We're over the age of 21. And we do not go anywhere after we record the show. Every person that has recorded in my home either Ubers home or gets picked up, or honestly just spends the night. So this is just, a little serious moment from the show to you guys. Please drink responsibly. Please don't drink and drive. So enjoy the rest of the episode, but just keep in the back of your mind, stay safe, don't be an idiot. Thanks, guys.
The Tipsy Tim podcast is coming to you. Pour up a drink, or maybe a few. The Tipsy Tim podcast, we've got a lot to say. So come grab a seat, let us get inside your brain.
Today I do have a guest. You might know her as the lady who runs our Instagram account and the one who's out to save the world, Miss Emily Pratt.
Hello, everybody. I'm glad to be here with you today.
Did you like your introduction?
Oh, yeah, it was great. It was super flattering.
All right, so our topic today, we know you're probably tired of hearing about this shit. I know I am. I know Emily probably is. But we're going to be talking about the coronavirus. We're going to have 10 different talking points about the COVID-19.
So Rona.
the Rona, the COVID, the Corona, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But we're going to put our 2 cents in because everyone else has, so why the fuck not? Also, I've said that like 3 times. Oh, yeah. The buzzword for today's episode, anytime we mention like COVID, Corona, Rona,
Coronavirus,
COVID-19, something like that, we're going to drink. So I'm just going to take a big swig because we've just said that a lot.
At least like 8 times.
That is awful.
If the corona doesn't kill us, the liquor will.
And on that note, we're going to go ahead and get started. So my first talking point about everything that's going on is essentialism. And so the whole idea of deeming what is and is not essential is really insane to me. So, like, obviously there are things that are obviously essential that no one's like, oh, that shit should be closed. Hospitals obviously have to be open. Grocery stores have to be open. Gas stations. Post office has, like, things like that have to be open. But there's just, like, so many things, especially at the beginning of this. So, just for, like, a frame of reference, this COVID shit
almost forgot.
Started, like, I mean, obviously it's been around for a while, but I feel like it started affecting us, like, March 14th or something like that.
March 7th or something.
Really? I feel like
started closing.
So my work closed down March 18th. And so, yeah, I feel like the first or second week of March is when this started. And right now, what is the day? Today is May 14th is when we're recording this. So a little before it's going to come out. But this is just a frame of reference. So things are just now starting to open back up. Hi, Jacoby.
Also, I'd like to say I have a dog, so if he barks, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so right now it's May 14th. Everything is starting to open back up, like retailers and shit like that with guidelines. But we'll talk about that later. My biggest thing was how for, like, the beginning of this lockdown or whatever it was called, there were so many places open that did not need to be open. Like, GameStop, I feel like, was still open. And just, like, a bunch of random stores were so, like, still open when they didn't.
Bath and Body Works was open for a while.
Right. And Bath and Body Works hand sanitizer is not going to save you.
That's why they were deemed essential, was because they sold soap and hand sanitizer.
That shit is 90% glitter. That it is not saving anyone.
Oh my gosh. They smell good though.
And then I think now that things, or like the first, I live in Ohio, for anyone that doesn't know, and Governor DeWine, who, in my personal opinion, has done a great job at handling things here
in
the Buckeye State. So shout out to, DeWine and Dr. Amy Acton. I love y'all. But, like, I just feel like a lot of people, one thing that really bothered me that I saw, which I really just need to stay off Facebook, but there was this comment made, I'm not going to say by who, because unfortunately I am related to this person, who said, dentist offices are open, but hair salons are not. Okay, listen here, Pam. That's actually not the person's name, but, that sounds... Listen here, Karen. Like, you're going to be...
types of hygienic care.
Like, I would say, like, cleanings, dental cleanings, obviously not essential. You can go a few weeks, just brush your nasty-ass teeth. Like, if you have cavities or, like, an abscess, like, that's stuff that could harm you. And
grow into an infection and stuff.
Yeah, grow into an infection. And so, but, like... Your frosted tips will be just fine.
Not the frosted tips.
Your asymmetrical bob will be just fine during the diseased times. I don't know if that counts.
We count that one? You drink, I'll drink.
But it's just like, how... I obviously understand some things are essential. I get that, but... At the same time, it's just like, who is in charge? I mean, I guess DeWine is in charge of deciding who is essential and who is not essential. And at what point? because like my friend's dad works at like a plant where they make the like windshields for semi trucks, and so like they were deemed essential because semi trucks need windshields, and then semi trucks are needed to transport groceries to grocery stores. And so
And
like
I guess working in a factory, they can social distance. They can just like space out the assembly line and stuff like that. But
I feel like
still.
this was at a point before social distancing where it's just like if you were not essential, you were closed down.
Right.
But it was like companies were finding a way to be essential.
That's absolutely true. They were doing anything they could to be essential.
Exactly.
Crocs donated pairs of shoes to healthcare workers, but they only did it because not to say that it wasn't a great thing to do, but they did it because it kept them open. It kept them as an essential worker because they were providing shoes for healthcare workers.
Yeah, I just feel like companies were finding like every little reason to become essential in order to, keep people working and to keep the company open. So I guess that leads us perfectly into the second point, which you can go ahead and take over for that one.
The layoffs and the treatment from companies. So the ones that weren't deemed essential, or just the way that the companies decided to treat those employees. So a few things here. My dad, his company, they fix kitchen equipment, restaurant equipment, in school kitchens, in prison kitchens, everything like that. So when all the restaurants started closing, their jobs rapidly declined, and they kept them open for like 2 weeks, but they were getting like really, really short hours. And they just fired multiple people within each region, like within each city or anything. And they literally fired them. They were like, but we have the full intent of hiring you back when the corona stuff is over.
Oh, sorry. Drink.
And they fired them. The next day, they lost their health insurance without any way to prepare for that. They did not pay them out their paid vacation because this company was just trying to save all the money it could save for itself. And they didn't pay them the vacation they earned, and they took back 40% of their 401k matchings. They took it back. So it wouldn't even, if they got a new job, it wouldn't even transfer with them to that new job during this time, with the full intent of hiring them back when this was over, but not hiring them back with the same things they had already earned. Like, they wouldn't be giving them back their vacation hours. They wouldn't be hiring them back at whatever raise rate they had gotten. It would be like starting over brand new.
That is so shitty.
I mean, yes, like they were literally just doing it because to save themselves. And I don't know. I just
hope that, I'm going to hit on this later, which I know I keep saying, but the good things that have come out of this whole situation. And I feel like I would hope that after this whole, coronavirus and everything is back to normal, or what will be considered normal, because there will be a new normal. I hope people can look back and say, I work for some shitty people. And part of me wants to believe, because I just have this mentality that people will always do what's right, which is obviously not, that they'll leave. But it's like you can't you can't do something just because it's right if it's going to have bad repercussions. Like, you can't just leave your employer because they treated everyone shitty during the coronavirus. Because what happens if you don't have another job lined up and now you have no health insurance or you have no income to support your family? So it's like,
my dad is one of those. He's like, if they reach back out to me, why would I want to go back? And on
Exactly.
top of that, he's like, if I go back, I have demands. He's like, if they want me back, which they will because he's a great employee. That's not why they fired him. They just were trying to save their own asses. He's like, I have demands, and whether they want to follow them or not, whatever, I'll go to their competitor.
Yeah,
'Cause
I mean, you can
their
go.
competitor already reached out to him. So
Yeah. And yeah, it's just like I really do wish that people after this is over, like, you know what, fuck this place. Like, this is how they decided to treat people. This is how they decided to treat me. And, you know, in turn, this is how they decided to treat my family because of hard times for the company. Like, they don't care about the employees. I hope
And
people are able to look back at that and leave.
outside of the corona shit, everybody needs to stop accepting terrible treatment for themselves. They just need to know when to finally turn away. That's the thing we all do too much, is accept terrible treatment from our family, from our friends, and from our employers. And we gotta cut that shit out.
Yeah, I think it's really like, it's just like so ingrained in the minds of like Americans that like work sucks.
Yeah. I'm just,
And it's just, you know, this is funny because I'm going to mention this, you know, forever on every episode, but there was this episode of The Basement Yard where like they're talking about like the whitest songs ever or something like
yes,
that.
yeah.
And they're like, work sucks. And then Frankie Alvarez is like, you know, every white person in that bar is like, I know. And it shouldn't be like that. I'm not
Why do
saying
we all hate our jobs? Why is everybody doing something they're not passionate about or they love? The money.
right.
People have
It's
bills
the
to
money
pay.
and it's the opportunity and the education issues, and it's just, you know,
They got
sometimes
bills to pay. They got mouths to feed. There ain't nothing in this world for free.
Tipsy Tim podcast, the musical episode. But you know, I like my job. I'm not going to obviously stay there forever because I will have a degree eventually, but like I genuinely love my job. And you know, I'm not going to disclose what that is in any sort of way because I will get fired. But
don't do that.
I love my job, but I mean, when my alarm goes off every morning, well, not right now because, you know, quarantine, but like I'm just like, shit, I don't want to get up. But like once I get there, I'm fine. It's not like
Yeah.
I get to work and I'm miserable all day long
I'm the
because
same
I
way.
did have a job like that where I was miserable all day long when I was there.
Yeah, I never want to get up, but that is not a reflection of the job. I just never want to get up.
But people are so like ingrained that work has to suck. And that's not a corona issue. That's an America issue. And that's the motherfucking tea.
Motherfucking tea. Yeah, but it's not just companies like my dad's company. Like, you would think all hospital workers are essential no matter what. You work in a hospital. If you work there, your job must be important. I have 15 people in my department alone got laid off. And just like besides my department, technicians, like x-ray technicians, ultrasound technicians, all elective testing closed. All elective tests, procedures, surgeries, they all got canceled. And so people who worked in those elective departments got laid off for the time being. So this included x-ray technicians, ultrasound technicians, whatever. They're still needed. They're still working in the ER, but there weren't enough hours for all of them with the outpatient side being closed. And so these technicians who have degrees that they've worked hard for, if they wanted to have enough hours to support their families and pay their bills, they had to like volunteer for cleaning shifts, which obviously was needed during this time. Like, obviously there's corona shit everywhere, clean it.
Yeah.
And they could volunteer for that.
Oh shit.
They could volunteer to take temperatures and check like screenings at the door to screen for coronavirus symptoms. And again, cleaning was important, screenings were important, but that's not what they went to school for. But if they wanted to pay their bills, that's the hours that they could volunteer for to pay for that. And it's just like they didn't deserve that treatment either. My department itself, I got cut, my hours got cut severely. And my managers are all telling us, like, apply for unemployment, apply for unemployment. Like, okay, cool. But apparently you could only get unemployment if you were missing half of your hours or more. So my checks were short by like $200+, but I wasn't approved for unemployment.
Yeah,
And
I cannot apply for unemployment because of where I work. It is a religious nonprofit, not funded by the government whatsoever. And because my employers are not paying into unemployment during a normal time, I cannot get unemployment. Which I'll hit more on this later, but like I'm really lucky because our bosses, or like the management team or whoever the fuck at my job, is basically paying us out of their own pockets. But like, what happens if they weren't? What?
Yeah, that's lucky. Not everybody's getting to have that.
But yeah, I just don't understand people who are just like, one, I don't understand the poor treatment because I think Americans have this like mentality of like putting money over everything.
Absolutely. As long as it's good for the company, they don't care about the employers.
Exactly.
And that's very, very obvious during these times. Hospitals have so much money. They charge thousands of dollars for a test. The machine for the test is paid off after a few people get that test done. But yet they're still charging thousands of dollars for a test. And it's all extra, it's all income, it's all growth. And yet these hospitals couldn't pay the employees that they had to lay off for this. Like it's very obvious during this time.
Yeah.
Who cares?
And like, that's on the fucked up American healthcare system.
Don't get us started on the American healthcare system.
That's for another time.
That's for that needs its own episode entirely.
So basically, just to kind of wrap this point up, if you are working at a job that you hate, or you're working at a job that has treated you like shit, either pre-corona, during, or post, quit that motherfucking job.
Quit it. You deserve better. Well, and find another job first.
Yeah, have your ducks in a row. Have your ducks in a row before you do that. But honestly, find a new job, make sure it is secure, and throw a middle finger to your boss and walk out.
Or
like
maybe
a boss-ass
not throw
bitch.
a middle finger because they might be a good referral. Try to end on good terms.
Yeah, don't burn any bridges. That's a lesson I learned from Emily's mom when I told
her.
Throw
a mental middle finger. But
go home and do it. But I did learn an important a lesson from Mama Gail, which is Emily's mom, because I did have to go back to my employer after I went off on my manager. And luckily I was rehireable, but that doesn't always happen. So go home, flip off a picture of your boss, and go to your new job. All right. Number 3. So we're kind of getting into more things that don't have to do with like the economy, I guess. But one big thing that like I don't understand, or like I was shocked to see like on the news, which obviously the news is not the best place, but anyways, protests. And so I honestly did not expect protests to be happening because I don't really understand what people are protesting. Like people are literally protesting science. And it's just like, and
with their opinions,
their Facebook opinions.
Nah, you wrong, fam.
And I don't understand because there's this lady, again, I'm Facebook friends with, whose name, ironically, unironically, you decide, her name is fucking Karen. But anyways, she's literally, she drove out, to the State House in Washington, D.C., or the Capitol building. She went to some fucking government place in Washington,
This
D.C.
is someone you know on Facebook?
Yes.
God, that's embarrassing.
Named Karen. She's probably, 58, 60, around there. She went to this giant-ass protest to protest the coronavirus. Oh, shit. And she's protesting them shutting things down and stuff like that. And I'm just like, listen, Karen. Like, if Karen gets it, she's a goner. And I don't mean to say that in any
He
sort
fits
of...
the description. I mean...
She's over the age of 50. And, she's an older woman. And it's just, like, I know there's, like, miracle stories, like, people that are, 417 years old that are recovering from it and what the fuck. But...
Thank God Tom Hanks and his wife recovered.
Yes!
I don't know what I would have done.
America's dad is A-okay. His blood or his antibodies or something is actually being used to create a vaccine.
Saw that. There's no better way to go down in history besides all of his amazing acting awards than to also help create the cure, the vaccine for the coronavirus.
We love you, Tom Hanks. If you ever hear this, I love you so much.
Come on the show.
But so yeah, protests. And like this kind of just goes back to our people, really our American people, so brainwashed to where they believe that money should be valued over other people's lives. And I've seen this video, and it's just like, how many people do you think should die in order for the economy to be fixed? Like,
and this is like a classic kind of question that's in wow, I'm having a brain fart. And there's like a college course. It's called
philosophy?
It's a common philosophical question. I just had the biggest brain fart ever. There's 6 people on the train track. Do you kill them and save everybody on the train, or do you reroute the train? And
I don't think it's the act of pitting like people against other people. It kind of is, but it's like pitting people against money. And I understand like how, I don't want to say I understand how the world works. I'm still young. I don't understand how the world works entirely, but I understand people need money. People have to take care of their families. I get that. But it's like, it's funny to me because this kind of goes back to like the essentialism or whatever. But like the people that are protesting for things to open want to be served by other people, but would not go in and do it themselves. There's absolutely no way the Pams, the Karens, the Susans, every middle-aged white woman is, I need my nails done, I need my hair done, but they would not go to work and do it themselves. That's 100%. I'm spitting facts.
Yeah, 100%.
And I just, like the same people protesting that we should be open, masks should not be necessary because they're scared of Muslims, or, that's how they're scared to be viewed. Because they view people so negatively that are of the Islamic faith or choose to do, I don't want to say it because I don't want to be like, I don't want to be disrespectful because I don't have the knowledge to acknowledge
Right.
Exactly, head dressings and, like modest clothing and things like that. They don't want to be viewed like that because they are the same people treating those people terribly. And so instead of saving lives, they would rather just not be viewed as a negative person.
I just really don't understand what there is to protest. I get it. It sucks. It sucks for everybody.
Yeah. I think
Move on.
my biggest issue with this is that I'm just so empathetic. And so, like, I see it from both sides, but I really don't understand what there is to protest. I feel like everyone, which, a lot of people are fucking stupid, and a lot of people lack the common sense and common, like, empathetic or sympathetic or compassionate, like, anything in their brain. I don't know where I was going with that, but shit, I can't remember.
There are even doctors leading protests where they're just like, this is going against our rights. What has ever happened that has made it to where we can't practice our rights? What has ever happened in the history where you weren't allowed to go to church? Like, there are doctors protesting this, and it's
like, okay, but this is the thing. I'm not by any means religious, but I did grow up in the church, and my parents, I'm not saying, like, my parents have done a really good job, and I'm really surprised because of how my parents' political views, like, they've actually went away from those because they're practicing safe social distancing. They're staying at home and stuff like that. And I asked my dad, I said, how do you feel about not being able to go to church? He said, true Christians that believe that this is the way, the truth, and the life, like, you don't have to go to church to be a good Christian. And the people that are protesting that you can't go to church are ridiculous. And they're fake.
That's the thing. Even, like, you don't have to go to church to worship God.
Right.
Some people might want that support and that backbone.
Like, it's not,
but
not being able to go to church, I don't think that's infringing on anyone's rights, because you have the absolute right.
It's because of the freedom of religion. But you're right. What you're
saying. Stand out on your front porch and worship. No one is going to say anything to hear.
Like,
yeah, no one is going to. No one is saying you cannot practice your religion or you'll, be yeeted out of this country. No, no one is saying that.
Be yeeted out of
They're
this
saying
country.
that you can't join 50 or 150 or 1,050 other people and do it together because you will kill them.
Or according to what the actual numbers, no more than a group of 5 to 10.
Yeah.
But also not 50 to 100 to 1,000.
You know what I mean. What are you protesting? And the only people protesting, middle-aged people and recent high school graduates who believe everything their parents tell them and haven't been smart enough to think anything other.
And explore for themselves.
And that's facts. That's straight facts. I'm getting real heated. I don't know if it's the alcohol or I'm just real passionate about stupid people.
I'm passionate, and it's also the alcohol. Like, I'm only half a glass in, and I'm feeling it.
It's definitely the alcohol. All right. Well, besides that, if you're protesting, I think you're dumb as fuck, but who am I to say anything? If you're out protesting, I just want to know why. I just want to know simply what the actual fuck. And
Not
on that
an easy
note,
question to answer.
And on that note, we're going to move to point number 4. So, Emily, back to you.
Inconsistency. The inconsistency of it all. I do not understand how this wasn't regulated countrywide. It was literally left on a state-to-state basis. Mike DeWine, Ohio's governor, is like, yeah, let's shut this shit down and keep everybody safe. But not everybody's thinking that way. Out of only 23 states actually issued, or the last time I checked anyway, issued stay-at-home orders and were closing things down. I don't know what the others were doing. It's just the Las Vegas Strip closed. The city that never sleeps closed. That doesn't happen. And people still weren't taking this seriously. They were just like, nah, I'm gonna go hang out with my friends. Nah, I'm gonna go do this or whatever. Oh, we can't go to bars? Well, I'll have a party at my house. Like, I don't understand the inconsistency or how some things were left open for a really, really long time before they were shut down. The inconsistency between states, it can still spread. Like, cool, your state is open, don't come here to this state that's been locking down and trying to protect its people and ruin everything.
Yeah, I think there was a point, like, that they were trying to do, like, damage control with that, is banning, like, you cannot leave your state. But it's like, is anyone monitoring that? No. Because in Pennsylvania, they shut down every liquor store, and everyone in Pennsylvania was coming to Ohio to get liquor until Mike DeWine, shout out Mike DeWine, we love you. He said, in order to get liquor from a liquor store in Ohio, you have to have an Ohio issued ID. And it's just, yeah, it's just like, in order for the whole country to be on the same page, that would take, obviously people at the federal level. Like, I think Mike DeWine and all the other states, like, I heard, isn't Texas doing, like, really well?
Okay, don't get me, listen. So I was in Ohio when all this shit started happening.
Oh, yeah, so by the way, Emily just recently moved to Chicago, like, 2 weeks ago.
Like, literally less than 2 weeks ago. Like, it's been like a week and a half. And things are so different. Ohio did a really amazing job. Our numbers were way lower than estimated. So again, DeWine. But so I come to Illinois, and it's required that if you want in this building, you have to wear a face covering. So this, again, with the inconsistency, it wasn't that way in Ohio. They shut everything down and only kept essential businesses open, but it was just suggested that you wear a face mask. It was not made mandatory. And in Illinois, if you want in, there are people at every door of every building. The doors are either locked and they see that you have a face mask before they let you in, or there's somebody outside like guarding it and like making sure you have a face mask before you get entered.
Think in Ohio that was like a store-to-store basis, because one of my friends works, I'm not sure where she works, but like you have to have a mask in order to go inside. And like,
but that's the thing, it was left to the store to decide when it shouldn't have been. It was left to the state. And again, it shouldn't have been. Like, it should have been countrywide regulated. Because then here, my friend Jaslyn came to help me move to Chicago, and she was here for 3 days. Again, everything is closed. The city is closed. We couldn't go anywhere except for the grocery, but we were wearing face masks in there. She goes to the airport to fly to Texas, and they give her a quarantine order. Texas is like, when you land, you must go to the address that you have listed as your quarantine location, and you must stay there for 2 weeks. Not because she has a fever, but strictly because she came from Chicago. But the same week that she landed there, and they're telling she had to fill out a form with information and like turn it into a police station. The same week that they're making her do that, they're also opening up restaurants. So okay, good for Texas if they did well. But again, it's the inconsistency. How can you care enough that you're going to quarantine this girl that doesn't have a fever or any symptoms, but you don't care enough that you're starting to open restaurants back up the same week?
Yeah, I do agree. It's just so inconsistent. And like, going back to the mask thing, I did hear somewhere, I'm not completely sure, I think it was maybe something DeWine said, I'm not 100% sure, that the reason they weren't requiring masks is because there are, let's say, there's a single mom who has to take her child into the store. That happens. Like, you can't leave your kids in the car, and there's a lot of single moms. Like, that's just how it is. There's a lot of single dads, too. So if your child, for some reason, has, autism or some sort of issue to where they cannot wear a mask, and they have to be taken into the store, that is the reason why Ohio made them recommended but not mandatory.
But see,
that
they could make them mandatory except for those special circumstances, because kids are wearing them here.
Oh, yeah, there's
But I
tons of
think
kids
it's-
wearing them.
I think
But-
it's under the age of 2, they don't have to, or I'm sure if they had something where they don't understand that they need to keep this on their face, if they were on the autism spectrum or anything like that.
Yeah, but it's
I'm
just
sure
like,
there could be exceptions made.
yeah, I completely understand that, and it's just like, I think Mike DeWine had good intentions with saying that, if that is who said that, but it's just like, people are, have an inch and are taking it a mile, and so they're saying, oh, well, they're not requiring this person to do it, so, like, why should I have to? Because people during this, like, epidemic, I don't know if I have to drink to that, but I will. Pandemic, whatever. People during all this shit going on are, like, being so absolutely selfish. And it's just, y'all suck.
Everybody sucks.
And I just don't understand how, and, like, it goes, and it's just like, people, like, I don't know. It's like, people don't realize or just refuse to accept the fact that people outside of their loved ones matter. And so, like, when this whole thing was starting, people were like, oh, well, it will only affect elderly people. I'm just like, okay, but what about my grandma and grandpa? It affects them.
And I'll admit, during the beginning of all this, I'm sure I'm not the only one. During the beginning of all this, I'm like, this is a joke.
Yeah,
and I was one of those people that was like,
it was a joke.
If I get it, whatever, I'll be fine. But then I really did start thinking, like, oh no, like, I have a grandma that is old, she cannot get this. My mom was even like, no, Emily, you can't see your grandma. And so, like, and I understood. I wasn't even upset. I mean, it's an upsetting situation, but I'm not mad that my mom is saying I can't see my grandma. I understand. But I was the same way at first. I was just like, whatever, if I get it, I'll be fine.
Yeah,
now,
I was that way at first. I mean, me and you were out passing out flyers and doing, whatever the fuck, the day that they closed down all the restaurants. And
that was at the beginning of that. I forgot about that.
And that was the whole time. We're like, what the fuck? Like, it doesn't even matter. Stuff like that. And then, like, I went home, and I think what really solidified it for me is that one of the kids at my work has, like, Crohn's disease or some sort of autoimmunodeficiency disorder or something like that. And basically, like, I was reading, and it's just like, honestly, like, if she gets it, like, she's going to be so sick because her immune system sucks. And, like, just the thought of one of my 4-year-old kids, like, being that sick to where she could die, I think I was just like, okay, like, this is no longer a joke.
Absolutely. And I had coworkers like that too. Working in a hospital, working in the ER, I had coworkers that were nice enough, but also protecting themselves to where when the layoffs came up, they were like, I'm immunodeficient, lay me off, give my shift to somebody else. But that was just another thing. Like, that was super nice of them. And also, like, they were lucky enough they did receive unemployment, so it helped them. But I myself was like, I cannot hang out with anyone. And being someone that, has mental illness, it's hard to not be around other people for me. So luckily, I was fortunate enough to still be able to go to work, was still be able to interact with people. When I came home, it was just kind of hard. And
yeah, I completely understand because, like, again, as someone who struggles with
I still
my
respected
mental
it,
health, like, I don't want to say I was laid off because I'm still getting paid, but like I can't go to work. It's just me and Jordan here, and Jordan's at work all day long because like he's the person stocking the grocery stores. Like he is gone all day long.
Shout out to
So, like,
grocery store workers.
That for that first month, which I have a countdown, I think I'm on day 57 of not working.
Oh
But,
my
like,
gosh.
being home all day long by myself, like I was a mess. I was so just like I don't even know. I was like I don't even know how to explain it. I was going crazy.
Mhm.
Like
I had a couple bad nights, but luckily I've been able to get through it. But not everyone is so lucky. Again, working in the ER, like I saw the numbers of people coming in with suicidal ideations increase. Like it's very serious. So again, the people protesting, like I understand, but it was sucking for everybody. So
yeah, it's just like again, I'm just so empathetic to where like I understand where people are coming from on both sides, but like I think instead of protesting, put that brain power into figuring out alternate solutions for people. So a lot of people are saying that the gyms should be open because people work out for their, the sake of their mental health. And I completely understand. Obviously, I don't understand that, but like I understand why people do that. Like they have to work out in order to stay sane, and I get that. But instead of protesting and saying gyms should be open because people are killing themselves, why don't you use your brain power that you are using to do all this shit? Go somewhere, maybe make some ideas. I don't know. Make some ideas of things people can do to work out, to de-stress, to do whatever in order to get their fix for working out. I don't know. I don't know if that's possible. I don't understand why it's not possible. I understand not everything has a good alternate solution. I understand that. But it's just, what the fuck?
I think this brings us on a good leeway to our fifth point: stupidity and straight up idiocracy of the people.
Yeah. Just as a leeway for that also is I feel like maybe the lack of consistency is because people are thinking that the federal government is thinking that people have enough goddamn common sense to self-govern when that is absolutely not
They
the
don't.
case.
So many people lack common sense. I cannot even fathom it because common sense is just so common. It's just so
Common sense is so uncommon because so many people lack it. So we're going to move on to point number 5, which is stupidity and straight up idiocracy. Let me flip back in my notes because I can't remember shit. Okay. So I know that we see dumb shit even without the fucking coronavirus, which I feel like we haven't drank in a while. So
make it a big one.
we see a lot of dumb shit. We see, the people of Walmart. We just see a lot of dumb shit. And honestly, people just live your life. If I think you're dumb, that does not affect me in any sort of way. That's just live your life. I'm not here to judge people. That's Jesus's job. But like I just feel when all this stuff started, like everybody's stupidity just was like amplified. I don't understand people who are still just choosing to do what they please, and it really kind of infuriates me that people that we are associated with are still choosing to just do whatever the fuck they want. And
That's been hard. It's been hard to love these people and care about them and call them your friend, and then to see them doing doing things that you don't agree with, and then
and it's
just
just
having
like
to.
I don't understand, and that just goes straight to showing that person is so fucking selfish. And I don't understand. Like I do understand. I do understand you have to go get food. I understand you have to go get medicine. I understand you may have to go to the emergency room. You might have to go to the doctor. Like I get that. Some of you might still have to go to work. You have to get gas in order to go to work. You have to drop your kids off to someone else. Like, I get that. I would like to think there could be 100% social distancing, but in reality, that's not true. And, like, with Emily's case, like, she was moving out of the state. Like, so she did have to come in contact with people, and that's fine. If you have to do something, I understand
But it didn't
that.
even feel fine. Like, I felt guilty doing it because some of the people that I had to come into, like, I had worked so hard during all of this stuff. The only people I was coming in contact with were my coworkers. And then it came to this point where I was moving and I had to be in contact with people. And some of the people were people that were helping me move, which I super appreciative of. They were people that I love, and I had to come in contact with them. But they had just been in contact with so many people that I was just like, everything that I had done, all the social distancing I had done, all the self-isolation that I had done besides going to work was now just thrown out the window. And it was hard to get over that. I was upset about it. I was pissed off about it. I probably came off as, because there was one time I had to go to my friend's apartment that I used to live with. And I had to grab some of my things that were still there before the move. And I went in wearing a mask, and he had some friends over. And apparently I looked intimidating. I think they thought that I was mad at them, which maybe some part of me was. But I was wearing a mask to protect them. And it's like they don't understand that, because the mask doesn't protect you, it protects other people from you. I work in an ER. I was wearing a mask to protect all of you guys that weren't social distancing. And it was just, I don't know, the whole situation was extremely hard. Having to move during this, having to see some people, wanting to see some people and not being able to before leaving, you and me didn't even get to hug. Like,
Yeah, we are big hug people.
We are big hug people.
And, like, if you go look on our Instagram, like, our last picture taken together is literally me and Emily with a 6-foot-long tape measure in between. Like, that is how we had to say our goodbyes. And
we had to respect each other's wishes, whether I was comfortable with hugging Beth or whether she was comfortable with hugging me or not. We had to social distance. We just had to be responsible. Beth has little siblings that she would see from a responsible distance. She has grandparents that she would go visit from a responsible distance. And I work in an ER. I was dangerous. I was high risk. And I would feel so shitty if I was putting other people in danger. And it was just it was making me so angry that just other people weren't taking the same precautions. Like, I'm glad that you were able to go see your friends. Cool. I've been self-isolating because I see people with the COVID every single day. So.
Oh, drink. Yeah. So, I mean, just to move on from this point, because I could talk all motherfucking day long about how stupid people are, how selfish people are. I could talk all day long, and that's not what I'm here to do.
Oh, I think we are here to talk all day long. Just people that were visiting newborn babies. That was blowing my mind. People were visiting newborn babies. And I'm just like, get your mouth away from them. They're like kissing them on the cheek. I'm just like, what the fuck do you think you're doing? I'm sorry.
I don't have children yet. That will come in the future. But it's just like,
boiling my blood.
Coronavirus or not, don't put your fucking mouth next to my baby. Mm-hmm. I don't care if there's a pandemic. I don't care if Elon Musk found the cure to cancer. I don't give a shit what's going on. Don't get in my baby's face.
So shout outs to the mothers and fathers that were posting saying, hey, I'm so sorry you guys, we're healthy and everything. Nobody can visit the baby. I'm so sorry.
My friend Elizabeth, which is funny, we have the same name, but her aunt literally gave birth to a baby by herself. Her husband could not be in there.
Oh yeah, that was devastating. That was happening.
And she did it. You can love your niece, your nephew, your godson, goddaughter, whoever,
From a distance.
love them from a distance and spoil them when this is over.
Like, I'm
But I will
sorry that
be
they're going to be months
goddamn if
old
you
before
put
you
your
can see
mouth
them,
next
but
to a baby.
you shouldn't even do that when you're healthy without the pandemic. You should not be putting a human mouth carries so much shit. Don't put it near a newborn baby. It's not hard.
And so just to move on, not even to move on, but if you are out here and you're hanging out with your friends, I just want you to know I no longer respect you. I probably don't give a shit about you anymore. And Jesus probably doesn't respect you either. Fuck you. Second part of this point I wanted to make.
Beth is more of a savage than me. I still love you. I'm just a little disappointed. Continue on.
And I was almost a little hesitant, to put this in this like stupidity section because I truly do believe that these people are trying. But the amount of random shit I've seen people use as masks.
I've seen some of the best social media content over this.
And, like, again, Joe Santagato made a video about this, but me and Jordan were at Meijer with masks on, of course, getting our groceries. And, like, this man had, like, two, like, the headbands, like athletes or whatever. He had two headbands, like, wrapped, like, vertically around his head with a Hanes crew-cut sock over his mouth and nose, like, held on by the headbands.
No.
And, I mean, I really hope maybe it wasn't out of their dirty clothes. I hope it was clean. But, like, he was trying.
He was trying.
There are some places where if you cannot afford to get a mask,
or they just weren't available.
If you cannot find any, which now I think enough people are making them to where you should be able to find some.
Some people are being ridiculous though when they're selling them.
Message me. I'll get you a mask. There are lots of organizations that are getting free masks. Reach out. Like, we'll get you a mask. You don't have to wear a dirty sock.
Yo, you don't have to wear. People were cutting like the reusable water jugs that people like drop off, like the big giant water jugs to plug into your water dispenser. People were cutting those up and putting them over their faces. People were wearing those like inflatable dinosaur costumes or like night outfits, like dressing up in full suits of armor.
Or maxi pads.
Maxi pads. They're putting the sticky part on their face. Like you can't even breathe. That's
you
not
have to be able to breathe. And so I'm not here to call you stupid because I do appreciate you trying. I really do appreciate you trying. If for some reason you don't have a mask, if you can't find one, if you can't afford to get one, let me know. I'll help you out.
They are on Etsy, but a lot of them are like $20.
I have some cloth ones. I have some of those N95s. I'll help you out.
All hail Beth.
Please don't wear a maxi pad on your face. Please don't wear a sock. I'll help you out. Anyway, so we're going to move. We're about halfway through our episode, so I just wanted to shout out one of our sponsors. So on that note, we're going to go ahead and move to point number 6.
Yeah, moving on with the stupid masks people were wearing in public, that leads us to PPE, which was a big problem during this whole situation. I was lucky enough to be working in a hospital.
Just to point out, I'm not sure if anyone is wondering, but PPE stands for personal protective equipment.
Oh, sorry, I should have said that. Good sidebar. So yeah, I was working in a hospital during this madness when it first broke out, during the high parts of it, during the low parts, although who knows, it might jump back up now, whatever. Masks. People were lucky to have them if they did. I just remember walking around in grocery stores, seeing people wearing them, and I was getting upset because when I was working in the hospital, we were given one surgical mask a day. to wear during your entire shift. Now, the surgical masks are the ones that are like kind of flimsy cloth, okay? They're usually like yellow or blue or whatever. These actually are only good for 10 to 20 minutes, okay, before they aren't protecting you or the people around you anymore, because they get so soaked through with the condensation from your breath that after 20 minutes they don't really do any good. And that is what we were wearing the entire shift, your 8 to 12 hour shift. That's what you were given to wear. Nurses, doctors, thank God, they were also given, because, you know, they were in the real thick of it. At my hospital, at least, they were given N95s to wear, and then also wearing surgical masks over them. But again, this just kind of goes along with inconsistency. Some hospitals were given plastic gowns to wear that covered from their neck down to their shins. They were given feet coverings. They were given gloves, goggles that actually sealed to your face. People at my hospital, they were given sheer see-through gowns that only came down to a little past your knees, no shoe coverings, gloves. They had gloves, and they had glasses instead of goggles. But they had space in between them to where if somebody coughed and a droplet flew in there, like arced in the air, it could still land in your eye. And the inconsistency was wild. The PPE that wasn't provided, that should have been, was ridiculous. They would go into COVID patient rooms in these gowns, but before they exited the room, you would have to take off the gowns and throw them away in the room. That way you weren't wearing the germs out into the hallway. Okay, but they're still in the room taking these off. And now they're exposed to the germs all again. And then they're wearing them out into the hallway. So it was just, everything was backwards. There was no good way to go about anything.
Sorry, that was Jordan.
Yeah, I saw. I was trying to continue on, but I'm a little tipsy. And I just kept seeing you go like, no, cut it. I can't hear you. But so the inconsistency with PPE was wild. I wasn't even allowed to wear a mask at the beginning of it all. We weren't allowed to bring in our own masks unless they were company approved. I loved my job, okay? Since I just recently moved, I'm no longer with the company. I'm not going to badmouth the company and put that out there. I loved my job. I loved my management. They did everything they could. I loved my coworkers. But it was all ridiculous, okay? I wasn't even allowed to wear a mask at first. I could not bring one in. I had N95s in boxes I was not allowed to wear unless they were company approved. I felt very, very unsafe, and I would find myself at a grocery store pissed off that I saw other people wearing masks, because I'm just like, it's nice that you can have those, because I couldn't. But again, I'm glad that they were protecting themselves. But all in all, it was just a shitty situation full of resentment, full of just ridiculousness. In fact, my coworker, who is still there and is also one of my best friends, they were just handed a box of masks that were cleaning masks that straight up on them say, will not prevent or protect you from infectious diseases. And they were expired. And that is what the hospital provided them to protect them. When it straight up on them says they're not doing shit, like, can they not read? I don't understand. The inconsistency with the PPE, it was just wild. It was just wild. If you had a mask, be thankful you had a mask. If you worked in a hospital that had better PPE than mine, be thankful. I could not believe what I was seeing during this. Like, we were all just pissed off. We were all just angry. We were all scared.
Yeah. And that just kind of goes back to, like, the point about companies. Like, you should not have to go to work and feel unsafe.
Which part of it is working in a hospital any day, any day something could happen. You are exposed to so much shit every single day. So, I mean, that comes with the territory. But I should also expect to be given materials to do my job that protect me against this sort of thing.
Yeah, I personally would think that a hospital of any place should be, like, those should be the places that people are, places are modeled after. But, I mean, honestly, not.
And that's what I was so upset about. I was going to the grocery store and seeing people with N95s, and I'm like, here I am working in an ER, and I can't even get an N95. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's a bit ridiculous. I don't understand, like, I just don't understand any of this, honestly.
It's also up in the air. There's so many back and forths, so many inconsistencies.
This whole thing is inconsistent. Information is inconsistent. I don't know. Like, you just almost don't even know what to believe. I guess, honestly, that would kind of bring us to our next point, point number 7, which is about the stimulus check. All right, so we're going to get back into our point about the stimulus check. So this started out as what I thought would be a weird rumor, it started out as a weird rumor. Like, people would, we're getting $1,200 from the government, stuff like that. And, like, I just thought it was so weird. I'm just like, okay, like, whatever. They're like, oh, I wrote it here. I'm like, okay, like, I get you read out. Like, I don't know what to believe, I guess. Well, it happened. It came true. Or it was really true all along. And I'm still just like, what's the catch? Are you going to wait until I'm at my lowest moment, my last lonely dollar, and you're going to be like, hey, remember that $1,200 we gave you?
We need it back.
I need it back. And so, like, this whole time, I've just been waiting. It's just like, where's Ashton and the Punked crew? Like, what's the catch? And I do understand that not everyone was fortunate enough to get it. Like, some, like, college students that were claimed as dependents, but over the age of 18, like, they were
college students got ripped off.
I wouldn't say all college students, because I'm a full-time college student. I still got it because
fair enough.
Not claimed as a dependent. But it's just like they kind of just got, like, lost in the, like, it was like such a gray area because they're dependents, but they're not. It's just like such a gray area. I feel like they kind of just got lost in. And, like, I know people without social security numbers obviously did not get them, and people who, like, I don't know. It was just like a weird situation, I guess, of who got them and who didn't, and that really sucks. I understand. And so, I mean, it was backhanded towards certain people. It's just like the whole situation to me is just so weird, because even like a week or so ago, I got this letter from the IRS, and it was like a printed letter of, we understand that the coronavirus is it's a hard time, and we understand people are facing financial hardships, and we, like, the basic information shit that everyone, like, has been dealing with. And, like, it was signed by good old Donald Trump himself.
Good old
Donnie. Don. And, I really thought that, like, on the back, it was...
We are not making a political statement on the show, by the way.
Even though I just said the whole federal government was incompetent. But that's besides the fact. Obviously, I don't know enough about anything. That's just me. Don't come at me. I don't give a fuck. Like, on the back of the letter, it was translated into Spanish. I thought, wow, this is very inclusive. Good job, Donnie, or whoever wrote this letter. Can't be too mad about that. So,
wasn't him.
It was just weird. This whole situation with the stimulus check. Where did this money come from? Why are we trillions of dollars in debt? Where did this
trillions in debt?
Where did it come from? Where did it go?
And that's gonna make everybody angry in the future.
Stimulus check Joe. I don't know. It's just so weird to me. There's really not I have nothing else to say about it. It's just weird. I did see a lot of people flexing. I hope that when things are normal,
Why were people flexing?
Yeah.
They know that we know that that's all the stimulus checks that we all, some of us received. Like, there's nothing to flex on. Like,
yeah, like we're all out here together. I don't give a fuck if you're flexing or not. Just know when tax time rolls over again, April 15th, 2021, we're probably all fucked. And you're out here with the new watch, new car.
wish you saved that now.
Wish you saved that now. Anyways, that's it for the stimulus check. Like, what else is there to say other than what?
Thankful for it.
I'm very
Suspicious about it.
appreciative of this. Little sus. Little sus. But honestly, who am I to ask questions? It is a little sus though.
We're nobody. We're just on a podcast out of
Yeah. My
many
audience of 10
podcasts
people,
that exist.
and my audience of 10 people, hope you're doing all right.
And the 10 people love you. The people love you. I love you.
Love you. Love you, bye. Bye, love you.
I
Anyways,
love you.
we're gonna move on. I don't have a good leeway because honestly, just what
I'll just jump right into it. Don't
All
you
right,
worry,
we're gonna
boo. I
move-
got you.
move to point number 8. So take it away, Emily.
When I say everyone has been affected by this, I mean everyone has been affected by this. Everybody thinks that they're so special. Everybody thinks their situation is so different than everybody's. But really, you're upset that something got ruined for you. Other people are upset that things got ruined for them. I'm sorry that yours is different than other people's, so you think they can't relate, but they can. High schoolers who have been working their 12 years for a high school graduation aren't getting graduation. They didn't get to have their last sports game. They didn't get to have their prom. Things that all of us got to experience. And you might be old now and think, okay, but those things don't really matter. And you've been through college now, or maybe you haven't, which is still fine. But you think it doesn't matter, but it does. That was really important to you one day, and people are upset about it. And you're like, oh, whatever. You're missing your high school graduation. I'm having to reschedule my wedding. Like, things suck for everybody. People are dying. People have lost their parents, their siblings, their grandparents, and it's not just young people. Like, it's not just old people dying. There are young people dying too. And everybody is just so self-absorbed in themselves. Like, I had something shitty happen to me too. I was going on a 5-week international trip that all of a sudden I didn't get to go on, and I lost over $3,000 on it.
Yeah, because this first episode was supposed to be about Emily traveling the world. And here we are talking about the coronavirus.
I needed a drink after that was brought up, actually, so. Like, we all just have to adjust. Life keeps going, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for everybody that missed out on things. I'm sorry for people that were getting job offers that got retracted. I'm sorry for people that aren't getting to have high school graduations, college graduations. I'm sorry for people that have lost people. I'm sorry for small businesses that are really, really suffering because franchises, so this one location had to close, but luckily we're in a big enough company that we're still thriving. I'm sorry that the one company had to close and the people that worked there had to close. I'm even sorry for the famous and the rich that were working on projects that had to be postponed. I'm sorry for the big companies that are losing out on business ventures and things like that. I also, as a big, big consumer of movies, am super sad about the movies that had to be postponed and productions canceled. It's just everybody's affected by this. Rich and famous people are having to social distance and self-isolate. And while they're maybe getting to self-isolate in a house that has an in-ground pool and a movie theater and other things like that, and you're in a one-bedroom apartment, like, I understand that everybody's situation is different and it's hard for everybody, but we really are I'm drunk. I'm sorry. Everybody, let it be known.
I'm very hot. I'm so hot.
Started getting toasty. Luckily, when I sat on the toilet, I cooled down a little bit, but
I'm stuck in my office, and it has no, like, air circulation. I can't turn the fan on because it creates, like, a buzz, which I'm already buzzed.
I just want to say, everybody who's upset about something, and you might be talking about it to other people, because I had this happen to me where I was just like, man, I'm really, really disappointed that I didn't get to go on this trip. I'm sad that I'm moving and I don't get to see my friends before I go. I had people go, well, there are people dying, Emily, like blah, blah, blah. And I understand that. I'm not discrediting that, but I'm still allowed to be upset about what I'm missing out on. And other things are happening to other people, and I can still recognize that that is sad for everybody. I'm sad on everybody that got to miss out on everything. My roommate didn't get to have his college graduation. Like, I'm sad for everybody. Beth, you might have to. Luckily, you haven't yet.
Yeah, we might have to reschedule our whole ass wedding.
But that doesn't mean that I'm not allowed to be upset about my thing. As equally as I am sad for you about you might having to do that. So don't let anybody discredit you. If you're upset about something, you're allowed to be upset about it. Don't be a self-absorbed asshole that thinks that your thing is the only thing happening, but just maybe use that sadness to be like, let me see if there's a way that I can help somebody else who is also missing out on something so I don't have to feel bad. You know, if you know a high school graduate, just because they can't have a graduation party, maybe still send them a card. You know, things like that.
Yeah.
People are getting married over Facebook live stream. Send them, go check out their registry, send them a gift. Just if you can help. We are all affected by this.
I guess I can't assume that people would think, but this is just my PSA for the day. If this is not a competition, this sucks for everyone.
Everybody's affected.
And it's just like this argument that I kind of have, you know, unrelated to the COVID.
Oh.
When people are like, oh, I'm tired. People are like, oh, well, are you a single mom who works full time? Like, people are allowed to be tired. Goddamn.
That exact thing. Yes. Like, you can't possibly be more tired than me. Like, bitch, I have insomnia.
People are allowed to be upset about this. And it's not a competition. Like Emily said, we're not trying to discredit anyone. We're also allowed to be sad. And honestly, that makes
Your
people
feelings are valid.
Everyone has feelings that are valid, and it just makes.
Too many times people
we're all here to
other people's feelings.
Relate to each other. Like it sucks. Everything sucks, and it's just stop being selfish. Stop thinking the world revolves around you because it doesn't, and just acknowledge this sucks for everyone. Don't. Well, I had to reschedule my wedding. Well, my dad died. Like. I understand. I'm not saying that a wedding is more important than life, but like, and we're not saying that, you know, oh, well, I couldn't go to my concert and like, you know, whoever died. Like, I'm not saying those are equal. You're allowed to be
military people who are on deployment and we're supposed to come home.
My brother is literally stuck in the Middle East. He may not be here for my wedding if it happens in September. I'm upset. I'm allowed to be upset.
You're allowed to be upset. Everybody is allowed to be upset.
If anything you were looking forward to, whether it was big or small or here, there, to and fro, you are allowed to be sad. You're allowed to be upset. Stop being an asshole. Let people.
Your feelings are valid. Stop invalidating other people's feelings.
You would think in times like this of such adversity, we would come together. But I guess the fuck not. So you guys need to get it together, because I'm real tired of it.
Some people have come together.
We should all come. Stop.
Be
fucking nice. Help others. I'm not saying go spend hundreds of dollars on your neighbor. No, but...
Lord knows we don't have it. Even with the stimulus.
You know, if you're running to Walmart, ask your elderly neighbor, hey, can I pick up anything for you so you don't have to get out?
Absolutely.
Be nice.
Which brings us to our next topic.
Yeah, so this is the last point from me, point number 9. And, I don't want this whole episode to be negative because I know it sounds, I know it sounds because it is. Me and Emily have dogged on people. We have shit on the government. We've talked a lot of shit this episode, this past hour, and how many fucking
Also a lot of positivity.
But I just want to make this one point that is positive. And, besides all the people, I shit on the portion of people that have been doing this wrong. There's so much, happening in the world that is, things to be thankful for. And, like I mentioned earlier, I work for a small business that we are not getting unemployment. And, my boss and the board of the people that run my work, are basically paying us out of their own pockets. And, I'm obviously, it just, luckily for us, with Jordan still working, and Jordan has, a pretty good job, we could make it work on Jordan's paycheck. And, my shitty side hustle as a DoorDasher. But, some people might work, they're single moms, and they depend on that paycheck. Some people, they depend on that paycheck. It doesn't matter what their situation is. Some people depend on that paycheck. And just the generosity of whoever is in charge of my work, I'm actually not really sure. That, I'm just honestly, but I'm just so appreciative that they would still think of us during this hard time and make sure we're still able to live. Just some other things that I've seen. There's just a lot of wholesomeness. There's this small business called Hart Mercantile. And
we love Hart Mercantile.
We love Hart Mercantile. And they have a few others, Beck and Call and
Luna Fish and Botanicals, the sister stores in the Oregon District in Dayton, Ohio.
So they're all in Dayton. They ship online now due to the corona.
Support your local businesses. Do we need a refill? Because I'm empty.
We're almost on the last point. But you can go refill. I'm gonna keep talking. And there was just they posted on their Facebook that someone had donated their stimulus check to Hart Mercantile in order to stay open. They're staying open because they're doing online orders and things like that. But it was just that person did not have to do that. And maybe people that are receiving their stimulus checks would have been fine without it. Maybe they would have been A-okay. And so they have the opportunity to donate or give away that stimulus check. And, I'm not saying if you absolutely are depending on that money to pay your bills, obviously don't go and donate all of it. But, and you don't even have to, your donation, your contribution does not have to be a dollar amount. I want that to be known because I feel like when people are well, I can't because I have to survive on this. Give your time.
Donate your time.
It does not cost any money to say hello to a neighbor. It does not cost any money to check on an elderly. Call your grandma. Call your mom.
There was some story where in an apartment complex, an old woman posted a note saying, please, if you have any puzzle books or physical puzzles or DVDs, please drop them off to me. I've run out of things to do. Please do. And all the people in the apartment complex dropped off things for her to do during this quarantine. And that was one of the most heartwarming things I had ever seen. She was like, I'll return them when I'm done. Thank you all so much. All communication through notes, through strangers. So that is a time of generosity and unity.
There's just so much that you can do, and that has already been done. I'm not saying that everyone out there sucks ass. I'm a good percentage of you probably. But there's just so much that you can do or that has already been done. For the seniors, these people are creating these baskets that have, cards and candy and things to do and taking them to their front door to congratulate them for graduating. And it's just, one, I think it's acknowledging that this sucks. I'm sorry that you can't have your graduation, but here is something I can do for you. And I just think that mentality of people trying to help others in any way that they can, whether that is like a monetary donation or donating their time. The kids that live across the street decorated our sidewalk with chalk. I thought that was so fucking
decorated
cute.
the entrance to the hospital in chalk, saying thank you.
Like that, I was not legible. I don't know how old those kids are. I think they're little. But I mean, still, like, you know, that was cute, and that was something they're like that they wanted to do because they thought it would be nice. And like Dayton Public Schools, like you can do any search on them. They are a very poor school district. They get shitted on all the time. They get shit on all the time.
Shat on?
But these Dayton Public teachers and school bus drivers were driving around our neighborhood, because we live in Dayton, in the buses, and I'm sure they had like a list of addresses of the kids. They were dropping off books and pencils and markers. Dayton is a very poor city. And it's just, you know, if Dayton Public School District can afford to somehow wrangle up some teachers and bus drivers and deliver things to kids that honestly might have absolutely nothing at home. Like, every district can afford to do that if Dayton Public Schools can afford to do that.
I know Dayton Public Schools, like some teachers are going and sticking like graduation signs in the yards of graduating seniors. And just like there was a small business owner somewhere that had a bar that people would always like staple or stick dollars to the walls and ceilings. Ooh, excuse me. And that business owner, even though they closed during the coronavirus, they spent the time to take down every single bill that was on their wall and ceiling and donated it to their employees that were now laid off. And it ended up like being over 3,000 something, I think. Don't quote me.
There's just so much good going on in the world amidst
people are really helping.
Everything that sucks. So if maybe you're listening to this and you're wondering like how or what you can do, just be nice. Like I said earlier, call your grandma, call your mom. Because honestly, they're probably just sitting at home doing nothing if they're abiding by the CDC guidelines. And a 5-minute phone conversation with your grandma will probably make her whole day.
Can change a whole day.
And what are you going to do with that 5 minutes? Nothing, because we're all stuck the fuck inside.
I'd also like to take some time. I was working in the healthcare field during this, and it was hard. It was some long shifts, some different hours, everything like that. Some local places, there was a local meat company called King Cold Meats that donated multiple boxes of $80 worth of frozen meat to the employees that were working that day. They came in their truck and they delivered them to the employees. I'm eating off of that right now because I just moved, so I have that. So thank you to them. Even though Crocs, even though I mentioned them earlier about part of essentialism, saying like, oh, they made shoes for healthcare workers to stay essential. While that is also true, they still provided shoes to healthcare workers for free. I got a pair. I'm thankful for it. I like them. I've been wearing them every day. So thank you. Thank you to all these small businesses or big businesses that came together to support healthcare workers. Lizzo, you know, Truth Hurts singer and star.
100% that bitch.
100% that bitch. She really is. There's a healthcare system in Ohio called Kettering Healthcare. One of the hospitals there is called Soin Medical Center. She paid for lunch one day for all the workers in the Soin hospital. And so just like thank you to everybody that has done everything to help essential workers, or thank you to, there are some people out there helping the homeless during this time who are usually homeless, might sit outside businesses that are getting lots of attention, and right now they're not due to the COVID. Oh shit, my drink is running low. So they're taking it upon themselves. People are taking it upon themselves to go and make sure that these homeless people have masks, that that they're still getting like some food, whatever they need. There really are people out there doing that, and I really, really appreciate that.
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of this stuff is negative, and again, and again, and again. It sucks. It sucks for everyone. But just know that there are some positive things coming from this. And if you're listening to this and you maybe haven't done any positive things, or you've just been wondering, like, there's just so much you can do. So I hope this inspires you to go on, do something nice, take care of your neighbor, things like that. And just a big thank you to everyone who has already, done something to add positivity to this already fucked up world.
I've been driving by towns here that have like signs up in their windows, just like thank medical staff and other essential workers. Like that's just nice, like just small things like that. So thank you everybody.
So we're gonna push the positivity aside once more, unfortunately, and that is gonna go into our last point. Emily, you can go ahead and start this one out.
The pandemic and other conspiracies around this, because what is a world crisis without some conspiracy theories? So of course, when this arose, people are honestly, I love conspiracy theories. I really do. I hardly ever believe them, but yet they entertain me. So there have been many conspiracy theories around the whole pandemic thing. There was a whole meme created. 5G towers rose up around the same time that the virus took place. So, of course, some people were like, oh, there's a correlation, blah, blah, blah. That the waves from the 5G towers created this, blah, blah, blah.
The same people that believe 5G created the coronavirus are the same people who think vaccines cause autism.
Point made.
And that's on facts.
So, obviously this can't happen. For this to have... I'm running out of drink, so I'm trying to avoid the word. There would have needed to be particles containing the virus.
This is a big club. I'm set.
There would have needed to be particles carrying this thing in order for it to enter you. Electromagnetic waves cannot do such thing. And so people were out here like, oh, it's the 5G towers, blah, blah, blah. Consider it debunked.
And we're not here to debunk every conspiracy theory. Because there's like this whole, like, I just feel like there's so many conspiracy theories about, like, before this virus, there's just conspiracy theories about 9/11 and the lizard people of the government and landing on the moon and who shot JFK, and there's conspiracy theories about everything. And everything pertaining to the government. And I would just like to point out, this kind of goes with my point, is that, like, when this shit started, like, did everyone have, an uncle that worked for the CDC? Like, I just got so many, like, oh, well, at work, everyone would be like, oh, well, my uncle works for the CDC, and he said, or, like, my uncle works for the governor, and he said, like, no, he does not! Your governor, or your uncle probably works at fucking, like, Speedway. He does not work at the CDC. I
actually did have a friend who had an aunt that worked for the government, and I knew ahead of time that everything was about to get closed, so that was fun. I was like, let me go to the gym one last time.
But it's just like, people are like, oh, I know everything that goes on, like, in the government. No, you don't. And so my main point of this conspiracy, like, there was this whole, like, pandemic video going around, and, like, it got taken down by Facebook and YouTube, and, like, you can't really find it anywhere. And it was just talking about how, like, there was like an ulterior plan for the U.S. getting this virus. And it was like, they did it to, God, that is so awful. They did it
to get the alcohol from the bottom.
thin out the population, or to have like a tyrannical, I don't know if that's the word,
Tyranny.
grasp on the U.S. people. And like, I obviously did not watch it, but because you can't really find it anywhere. And my main point with this last talking point, not only to just give people some things to think about, I guess, is just, one, you don't know jack shit, and two, like, nobody knows jack shit. And so
nobody knows jack shit.
Yeah, and it's just like, it's just so hard because, like, is the government doing this for is there an ulterior motive? We don't know.
Well, there are many conspiracies on that. So some people think that it's the Chinese government purposefully, okay, not even purposefully. There's actually, really coincidentally, I don't know how this happened, in the city of Wuhan, in China, where the disease originated, there is also a location there that is a virology institute that studies coronaviruses from bats.
Oh, no.
I know, and this was a huge
You said
conspiracy. Coronavirus. Oh, no, I did. Okay, drink. So there was a whole big theory that the people from that virology institute released this on purpose, but there's actually a virologist there who has been worried that something could go wrong every single day, but she checked all the samples against the strain that's been released, and none of the strains matched. So it apparently, reportedly, did not come from that institute. But how coincidental is that this same city that the virus originated in is also a city that has a virology institute?
Yeah.
I'm a little drunk, so I don't know if I'm saying that word right.
I thought you were saying urology for a long time.
Virology.
Don't mind us slurring. That's the whole point. But yeah, just to kind of wrap up this episode, people are, saying like all these conspiracy theories, and honestly, the truth is that no one knows. So is there an ulterior motive?
Was it for population control from the U.S. government?
Like, no one knows.
Another conspiracy.
Maybe.
Was it to control the polls so that Donald Trump could remain in house, could remain in I
don't know what to call it. To remain president.
To remain president. Was it to fuck up the primaries so that Bernie Sanders couldn't get the funding that he needed? Maybe.
We don't know. Maybe. All of it's a maybe. All of it is I don't know. It's just,
I don't know.
Nobody knows. Nobody, is this going to last forever? I sure hope not, but nobody knows.
It really just started because a man in Wuhan bit into a bat?
Yeah. Who is this man? We just want to talk.
What's his life story? I'd love to know.
But it's just, no one knows. So if you're out there and you think you know, stop acting like you know, because you don't. Nobody knows. And,
you don't know.
And so just to wrap up, this episode is going to be titled, Is it the end of titled? This episode is going to be titled, Is it the end of the world? And honestly, we don't know. So anyways, I hope you're all staying safe and healthy out there. One thing that I want to incorporate into this new season is to just give some shout outs. So our first shout out is going to go to Hart Mercantile and their sister stores. I absolutely love to shop there. I actually only got introduced to them like the day that this shit started and everything got closed down. But like since then, I bought so much stuff online. So if you're listening, you don't even live in Dayton, don't even live in Ohio, Heart Mercantile on Facebook. You can shop. They'll ship it to you. They just have pretty cool things regarding dating. So just want to shout out Heart Mercantile. So if anyone ever from Heart Mercantile ever listens to this, we love you. Please sponsor us.
We love you.
Second shout out, King Cold Meats. And so like Emily was saying, they donated a bunch of meat to their hospital employees.
It's still feeding me weeks later.
Just like Arby's, Emily does have the meats. Last, just a shout out to a guy that we've been working fairly closely with on merch and graphics and things like that, Jonah Dills. So go follow him on Instagram at Jonah Dills.
He's actually my old roommate's brother.
So if you want stickers or t-shirts, he's doing like personalized masks. Just anything and everything that you could ever think that you want customized, hit up Jonah. And so he's at Jonah Dills on Instagram. So yeah, thank you for tuning in to the first episode of the Tipsy Tim podcast.
Thank you so much.
We're really glad that if you've made it this far, we're really glad that you're here. We're very excited for...
Drink with us. It's very fun.
We're very excited for this whole season. We have a lot of cool stuff coming up. One big announcement, we are going weekly. So every Thursday, you will be hearing from the Tipsy 10 crew. So yeah, thank you for tuning in. And
follow the Instagram.
Oh yeah, follow us on Instagram at the Tipsy 10 Podcast. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at emorgs09.
Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at emvpratt.
We're excited to have you for this season. Stay tuned. We'll see you next Thursday. Bye. So that was it for the first episode of our new season. I know we're a little bit behind with the prime of the COVID-19 outbreak, but I do hope you guys enjoyed us making a little humor out of the situation that sucked for everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in with us. Please make sure to check out our sponsors and our friends at the places we've shouted out. Make sure you go subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow our Instagram account, and share us with all of your friends. Again, thank you so much. I will see you all next Thursday. And as always, stay thirsty.
The Tipsy 10 Podcast.